Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
So we are going to study about the different problems that are associated with citrus fruits. Okay, so there are many problems that are associated with citrus. There are many insect pests which attack on the citrus fruits. There are many diseases and some physiological disorders are also there which affect the citrus fruits and citrus crop, right? So firstly we will discuss about the insects and pests which attack on the citrus fruits and citrus plants, right? So first one is citrus thrips, and the scientific name is Thrips nilgiriensis. The nymph stage as well as adult stage of the citrus thrips lacerate the leaf tissues and suck the sap from the fruits. It also causes leaf curling, it causes the ring-like appearance on the fruits, and there is irregular mottled patches on the rind of the fruit. So this insect, that is citrus thrips, it suck the sap from the fruits, right? And this is the picture of the adult as well as the nymph stage of citrus thrips, right? So this insect damage the fruit by sucking the sap from the fruits, and it also cause mottling on the fruits, right? So how we should manage this insect? We have to collect all the plants and plant parts which are damaged by this insect, and we have to destroy those plant parts. Then we can spray the plants with systematic insecticides at flush growth periods, and we can spray the plant to control this insect with malathion or monocrotophos or carbaryl. And we have to encourage the activities of natural enemies of this insect. So natural enemies are sylphids and Cyrisophid. So these are the natural enemies, and we have to encourage the activities of these insects so that they can kill the thrips, right? So next one is scale. Scale, and the scientific name is Istria purchasei. And adults and names of this insect, that is scale, they suck the sap from the leaves, and also they excrete the honeydew excretions, and there is development of soupy mold fungus on the leaves and on the branches of the plants, right? So this scale, they suck the sap from the leaves, and they excrete a honeydew, some secretion, that is honeydew secretion, and there is a development of soupy mold, that is fungus on the leaves and branches of the plant. And for the management of scales, we should spray with the dormant oil in the late winter. We can apply mixture of manure, compost tea, molasses, and citrus oil. Garlic pepper tea also helps to control this insect. And there are some natural predators, and these natural predators can check the scales, control ants and dust, which can give the scale a competitive advantages. So if there are ants are there, then it will give advantage to scales. So we have to control ants, and we have to dust for those ants. And we can release ladybugs, Australian ladybugs and Vidalia, so that these are the natural enemies of scales, and they can destroy this insect, right? Next is citrus butterfly. Citrus butterfly, scientific name is Papilio demolicious, Papilio polites, or Papilio helenus. So these butterflies, the caterpillar stage of these butterflies, these prefer on light green tender leaves. They eat the tender leaves, right? So they feed voraciously and leaving only mid-ribs, right? So leaves, they heavily feed on the leaves. And sphere infestation, the entire tree gets defoliated, right? So when there is sphere infestation of this butterfly, then the entire tree may get defoliated, right? So the caterpillar stage of these butterflies is very harmful for the plants, and they feed on the tender leaves. And when there is severe damage of these caterpillars, then the whole of the tree is get defoliated. This is the citrus butterfly, and this is the caterpillar of this butterfly, which eat voraciously on the leaves of the citrus plant, right? Now, how to manage this butterfly or caterpillar of the butterflies? So we have to handpick the larvae and we have to destroy these larvae. And we can spray with monocrotophos at first instra stage, and at later stages we can spray the plants with endosulfan. And we can also release parasitoids, that is trichogrammy. So parasitoid trichogamy are the enemies for this insect, that is butterfly. And caterpillar stage of this butterfly is very harmful for the citrus plants. So we have to manage the butterflies and their larval stage. We have to pick out, we can spray the plants with monocrotophos and endosulfan, and we can release parasitoids, that is trichogrammy. Next is citrus aphids. So citrus aphids feed on the shoots and they distort the shoots, and they can transmit plant viruses. Okay, so aphids sometimes transmit the virus diseases, right? So they produce honeydew. This will encourage the growth of sooty mold, right? So citrus aphids and citrus thrips, they both produce honeydew, and it will encourage the growth of sooty mold. This is a picture of citrus aphids. So they feed on the leaves of the citrus. And we can manage the citrus aphids by using yellow sticky trap. And we can spray the plants with methyl demeton or a dimethiot. And we can use concyllid beetles and sylphid flies. These are the natural enemies of aphids, and we can release these natural enemies in the orchard of citrus when the aphid attack is there. Next is citrus leaf miner. The scientific name is Phylomystic citrella, right? So these make silvery appearance on the lower surface of the leaves, right? These leaf miners make a silvery appearance on the lower surface of the leaves. Leaves are get distorted and wrinkled, and a severe attack of leaf miner cause defoliation of the plant. This is the picture of leaf miner, and this is the showing that on the leaves when they feed on the leaves. So there is a silvery appearance on the leaves of citrus, right? So in this picture you can see the silvery appearance due to citrus leaf miner. So to manage citrus leaf miner, we have to spray monocrotophos, or we can spray fenvalerate, dimethiot, right? So these can be sprayed, and we can also apply NSKE, neem cake also can be applied. Next one is citrus scilab. Okay, so citrus scilab, the nymphs and adults of the citrus scilab suck sap from the plants and injection of toxic saliva. They also inject the toxic saliva in the plants, right? So nymphs are more destructive. They have more crowd on the terminal shoots, buds and tender leaves. They excrete honeydew, right? And there is growth of sooty molds. So aphids also excrete honeydew. Thrips also excrete honeydew, and citrus scilab also excrete honeydew, which encourage the growth of sooty molds. The affected plant parts dry and die away. Okay, and this citrus scilab is the major cause to transmit the greening virus. So there is a disease in the citrus that is known as greening. So virus for greening disease is transmitted by citrus scilab insect, right? To control citrus scilab, we have to apply malathion, or we can spray monocrotophos, carbaryl, methyl parathion can be sprayed. And we can encourage the activities of the natural enemies of citrusilla, such as Cyphids and Cyrosophids, right? So these are the natural enemies, and we can encourage the activities of natural enemies so that they can keep a control over this insect, right? Next is fruit sucking moth. Fruit sucking moth, they suck sap from the fruits. The adult of the moth, they pierce the fruit and suck the juice, and it will cause rotting at the feeding site, and it also cause fruit dropping, right? So this suck the juice from the fruits, and it will cause rotting of the fruits, and it will also cause fruit dropping. And to manage this insect, destroy the host weed, right? So there is a weed that is a host for the moths, and these weed hosts should be destroyed. And these weed hosts are like Tinosporocardifolia and Cuculus pendules, right? So these weeds should be destroyed to control this insect. Bag the fruit with polythene bags. So to control the attack of the moths, we have to bag the fruits with the polythene bags. Apply smoke to prevent adult moths. So we can apply smoke in the orchards to prevent this moth. Trap crops like tomato can be grown around the orchard so that it can attract the adult moth, right? So trap crop can be grown. Poison bait, that is dilute suspension of fermented molasses and malathion, can be applied, and we can use light traps or food lure to attract the moths. So moths can be managed in different ways, like we have to control the weeds, we can bag the fruits, we can apply smoke in the orchard, we can grow trap crops, we can apply the poison bait, and we can use light traps to control this insect, right? So this is the management of fruit sucking moths. Next is Planococcus citric. Both nymphs and adults of Planococcus citric, they suck sap from the cells of tender branches and from the fruits, and these fruits turn pale in color, and the affected plant parts get wilt and they dry up, and a large amount of honeydew excrete, and it will cause sooty mold fungus growth, right? So fungus cover the foliage and fruits. So in severe infestation, the flowers do not form fruits, right? To manage this insect, we have to collect and destroy the damaged leaves, twigs, and stems. We can debug the branches and apply parathion paste. We can use sticky traps on the fruit bearing shoots, right? So sticky traps can control this insect. We can spray the plants with the dichlorobus in combination with fish oil or resin soap. Single soil application of aldicarb is sufficient to control this insect. We can spray the trees with methyl parathion. Soil treatment with chloropyrifos can be done near the trunk of the trees. Plants can be sprayed with acephate, methomyl, or chloropyrifos. And field release of Australian ladybug beetle can control this insect, right? Now diseases. There are many diseases which damage the citrus crop. So first one is soupy mold, and the scientific name is Capnodium citric. The symptoms of this disease are common in the orchards where mealybug and scale insects are not controlled efficiently, right? So when mealybugs and scale insects are not controlled, then this sooty mold, right? Sooty mold can be seen, which is excreted by the honeydews, and then sooty mold is appear on the plants. So scale, thrips, aphids, this should be controlled to control the sooty mold. Black velvety coating on the leaves is there, on the twigs and on the fruit is the characteristic of this disease, right? So there is black velvety coating on the leaves, on the twigs and on the fruits. To control sooty mold, we can spray the plants with web table sulfur plus metacid plus gum acacia in the month of May, right? Next is foot rot gummosis. The symptoms appear as yellowing of leaves, followed by cracking of bark and profuse gumming on the surface, right? So foot rot gummesis, there is yellowing of leaves and there will be gumming on the surface of the plant. The main source of infection is infected planting material. So we should always use the planting material that has no any disease symptoms, right? So as a result of severe gumming, the bark becomes completely rotten and the tree dries owing to burling effect. So there is gumming in this disease. So due to gumming, the bark may become completely rotten and the tree dries and there will be burling effect on the tree. Right, so this is the picture of a tree which is heavily attacked by foot rot gummesis, right? So this is the gumming on the bark of the plants. How to control this foot rot gummesis? So we can paint the stem above the ground level with Bodex mixture. It will help to control the disease, and we can spray and drench the plants with Redomil or Alliate to control this disease. Next is Tristeza virus disease. Okay, so Tristeza virus is transmitted by aphid. Okay, so Tristeza virus is transmitted by aphids, and symptoms begin with the dieback of the small branches and twigs, and there will be yellowing of the leaves, and there will be heavy bearing, but the size of the fruits will be very small. So Tristeza is also called a quick decline disease. So Tristeza virus is transmitted by aphids. To control the Tristeza virus, we have to control the aphid population, right? So if the aphid population is controlled, then it will not transmit this disease, right? So this aphid should be controlled to control this disease. Next is citrus excotis. Excotis is characterized by drying narrow strip of outer bark, which tend to separate from the inner live bark. So bark is separated from the outer bark is getting separated from the inner bark. The outer bark is slowly peels off as it withers. Okay, so the outer bark withers and it will peel off. The affected trees show lack of vigorous, resulting in the dwarfing. So the affected trees will be dwarf in nature. To control this disease, we can use virus-free budwood, right? So at the time of planting, the planting material should be free from any virus, and grafting tools should be disinfected after pruning branches from the diseased trees. So all the tools should be disinfected so that the disinfection cannot be transmitted to the other plants, right? Next is scab. Scab, there will be lesions on the leaves in the early stages, right? And in the later stages, leaf will become distorted, the leaves become wrinkled, stunted, and deformed. And on the fruits, the lesions consist of there will be corky projections, and that will break into the scabs. So this is the picture of scab on the fruits. There is corky appearance, right? There is corky appearance on the fruit. So diseased leaves, twigs, and fruit should be collected and destroyed, and spray the Bodex mixture to control this disease, right? Next is citrus canker. So the scientific name is Xanthomonas citri. This is the most serious bacterial disease in citrus. The disease symptoms appear on the leaves, branches, and fruit stalks. The canker lesions appear as yellowish spots surrounded by the characteristic yellow halo. The market value of the canker affected fruit is very reduced, very much reduced, right? So this is the picture of canker, citrus canker, right? These fruits are affected by citrus canker. To control citrus canker, we have to spray with streptocycline thrice, right? We can mix the streptocycline with copper sulfate in 100 liters of water. Black ox can also be used. Neem cake suspension can also be used to control this. citrus canker during February, October, and December, right? 3 times a year. Next are the disorders. Earlier we have discussed the diseases and insect pest, and now we will discuss about the disorders in the citrus fruits. So there are many disorders like granulation. Granulation means the juice sacs will shrivel and there will be gel formation instead of juice. So granulation is a condition in which the juice sacs of the fruit, they get shrivel and there will be gel formation instead of juice sacs. It is often associated with the fast growth. It occurs more in large fruits, on young trees, in humid climates, and on trees growing on sandy soils. So, to control this disorder, uh, we have to grow these citrus plants on well prepared soils, loamy soils, right? And we have to check if there are humid climates, then citrus orchards cannot be grown, should not be grown, right? Next is fruit drop. Fruit drop is in the citrus is very much, right? There are many causes of the fruit drop, like lack of fertilization, there may be mechanical shock, the attack of insect diseases, high temperature, rainfall, and defective irrigational practices may cause the fruit drop. So most pronounced stages of fruit drop occurs when the fruits are at marble stage. Right, so on the onset of hot summer weather during May, June, the second wave of intense fruit drop occurs, while pre-harvest drop occurs during ripening period, which lasts from August to January. So there is heavy fruit drop in case of citrus due to number of reasons, and some of the reasons are like lack of fertilization, attack of some insects, attack of some diseases due to high temperature. So we have to control all these insects, diseases, the high temperature, irrigation practices should be good so that fruit drop can be reduced. To control the fruit drop, it depends upon the variety of the fruit. And pre-harvest, to reduce the pre-harvest drop, we can spray the plants with naphthalene acetic acid in the month of August till October at a monthly interval, right? Next is fruit cracking. So fruit cracking is caused by climatic and soil moisture irregularities, right? So if there are climate change, the soil moisture irregularities are there, then fruit cracking may occur. It has been speculated that internal pressure developed by the pulp cause the rind to split, right? So there is some internal pressure that may cause the rind to split. Regular application of fertilizer and water to provide smooth, uninterrupted growth might reduce the problem, right? So to reduce this problem of fruit cracking, we have to apply the proper dose of the fertilizers, and we have to apply water at regular intervals so that fruit cracking can be avoided. Next is greening of citrus. So greening of citrus, it is a disease that spread through grafting, and citrusilla is the insect that transmit this disease. The affected trees are stunted with pronounced leaf and fruit drop. The fruits of the affected trees remain mostly green even at the time of maturity, right? So these which are directly exposed to sun show conspicuous yellow patch on the green surface. So these fruits remain green, and sometimes they may show some yellow patch. Diseased fruits are valueless owing to their small size, distortion, low juice, and insipid taste of the fruits. Then after the problems that are associated with the citrus, then how we can manage after harvesting, right? So there are post-harvest management of the fruits. So firstly, when we harvest the fruits, we have to wash the fruits properly so that if there are any remains of some disease, there any molds are there, so these can be washed, right? Then we have to dip the fruits in fungicidal solutions of Devistin or Tanlate, which will help to reduce the spoilage during storage. We can apply retardants like gibberellic acid or calcium nitrate. It will help in delaying the ripening and it will increase the shelf life of the fruits. And in some places, waxing and polishing of the fruits with soft brushes is done to substitute the natural wax coat that may be lost in the washing. So there is a natural wax coat on the fruits, but during washing that natural wax coat is lost. So to replace that natural wax coat, we can apply waxing and polishing with the soft brushes, and this will be a barrier between the it will cause as a barrier, so moisture will not lose from the fruits, and the microbial attack will be less during the storage, right? So these are the treatments that should be done after harvesting of the fruits. Then grading of the fruits should be done according to the size and appearance of the fruits, right? So in the market there are many grades of the oranges and tangerines. These grades are extra, special, and commercial, right? So these are the grades. The fruits that are very big in size, and the fruits which are having very good quality, they are graded as extra. Then there is special, then commercial, right? Next is packaging. Packaging of fruits is done in the different kind of packaging materials that we have already discussed. The fruits are wrapped in thin paper, in shrink films for controlling the moisture loss, and these can be packed in wooden boxes or corrugated fiber boxes for the distant markets. And for local marketing, bamboo baskets that are packed with the dry grass or straw, these can be used for the local marketing. Then storage. The citrus fruit can be stored at a temperature of 8 to 10 degrees Celsius, right? And CA storage or refrigerator storage or ventilated facilities can be provided to reduce the damage in the citrus fruits, right? So citrus can be stored at a temperature of 8 to 10 degrees Celsius with 90% relative humidity, right? So shelf life of the fruits in low temperature storage will be 6 to 8 weeks. And if the fruits are stored along with the CA storage, that is controlled atmospheric storage, and with a temperature of 10 to 15 degrees centigrade, and the oxygen level is 3 to 5%, and carbon dioxide level is 5 to 10%, then the fruits can be stored for about 8 to 10 weeks, right? And international waxing and wax coatings are helpful for extending the storage life of the mandarins for up to 75 days, right? So it increases the shelf life of the fruits. So this is all about the citrus fruit. We have discussed about the problems and post-harvest management of the citrus fruit. So this is all regarding the citrus fruit. Thank you.